we're live. We're here with Shihan Jose Rodriguez, and you were with the Warriors Den.
Yes, sir.
And,
Warriors Den Fighting Championships. Director of the Warriors Den Fighting Championships, owner of Warriors Den here in Dixon, Tennessee.
Yeah, awesome, man. Tell us a little bit about it. You've got some fights coming up pretty soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. April 21st, we host our 9th Warriors Den Fighting Championships. We've got 18 fights on the card. It's always a sold-out venue.
Yeah.
I have about 7 title fights, 2 number 1 contender fights on it, from youth kickboxing to adult kickboxing to adult MMA. It's gonna be really live.
Yeah. Is it gonna be at the VFW?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. VFW. Doors are open at 5. We'll get started at 5:30 with kids, youth kickboxing, and then we'll start with the main event at 7 o'clock.
That's awesome.
Usually wrap up between 10:30 and 11.
Yeah.
And then we hit the after party. Buffalo Wild Wings, one of our major
Yeah.
sponsors.
Yeah.
So we hit the Buffalo Wild Wings and bring a crowd out there. So
nice, man.
Yeah.
So is this this fight like between people just from your gym, or is it like multiple different?
No, sir. It's I've got competitors from across the country coming from Kentucky, all across Tennessee.
So is it like your guys versus their guys, kind of?
And mixed, yeah. Some of ours, like our the main event, the co-main event, are our current champions defending their titles. My son is one of the kickboxers on. He's the youth kickboxing champion, so he'll be defending. That's him right there. He'll be defending his title. And we'll have a special guest. Two of my professional fighters will be there. James Conway, he's one of my pro fighters, and Alex Riggs. Yeah, he's a beast. Both of them are beasts. Alex the Trojan Warrior Riggs, he'll be there as special guest. So it's gonna be a good night.
That is awesome.
During the halftime show, we do a halftime show where my kids, my martial arts kids demo team, they get out there and they perform weapons, nunchucks,
that's so cool.
Staffs, and swords.
Really fascinating stuff. You don't really see an intermission like anything like that. Many places I've fought, that is an intermission. The best one I've seen. Some insane. You've seen it. You get to see it. It's wicked what these kids can do, man.
I know.
It's wicked.
They're so agile.
Man, you
got
to get out there and see it.
Yeah, and they're anywhere from the ages of my demo team's made up of 5-year-olds to my junior black belts. So it's pretty wild. How about Derek? Derek's gonna be on that card. Derek's gonna be representing on that card. He's gonna throw it down.
Actually, in the team now. Nice to get some good training.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He's been doing great.
Who y'all? Do you have an opponent yet? Is he got an opponent set up?
He's actually fighting Clarence Mathis. He's from Swift Kick boxing and MMA. Solid fighter, good fighter. But I think Derek's gonna take it to him.
Yeah, man.
The experience is on our side. The groundwork and everything is on our side. So I think it's going to be a good battle.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I want to say that out of all the gyms I've trained at, you manage to promote these fights all year round. You got 3 fights a year, if I'm correct.
Yes, sir.
You manage to do this, coach all these classes. You got a wide spectrum. You got traditional martial arts. You got MMA, and you still maintain such an organized, really structured class. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I've trained better being in his gym than I have any other gym. I've trained with Team 1 Jiu-Jitsu. I could go on for days, all the gyms I've trained at. The cardio, the endurance, the technique, it's all there. His coaching staff, he's a busy man. So
and I'm very blessed when you come to Warriors Den. We're all about the common goal, and the common goal is what our objectives are for that individual or that fighter, whether it be you're losing, you get a female in there that wants to lose 50, 60 pounds, or you get a fighter that wants to come in and he wants to be the next amateur and pro superstar. It's not a Jose Rodriguez Shihan show. It's I've got a staff of coaches. Miss Mary, my wife, she handles the ladies kickboxing side of the house and the ladies self-defense side of the house. So she does a jam-up job with that. So I don't touch that. I've got probably one of the best boxing coaches around. He's Hungarian. You got to get past his accent.
And he is the perfect mix of just super fun, eccentric, but he does not mind telling you exactly what you're doing wrong. He's not
Yeah.
going to sugarcoat it.
That's
He's
what
going
you
to
need.
yeah, he's
That's
going
what
to
you
be
need,
in your
yeah.
face.
Yeah.
Like, nope.
Yeah, he's got.
Nope.
I tell him he has no filter. I tell
He
him in
doesn't.
the U.S. we need a little bit of filter. He's got no filter.
Yeah,
But he's a
that's
great
awesome, man.
coach. He was on the Hungarian. He won't tell you this because he's very humble.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But he's on the Hungarian Olympic team.
Oh, wow.
And he's got over 120 boxing fights as a professional. He heads up my boxing program. So even though I boxed, I turn all my boxing over to him because he's
just
the
master.
third.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I tell everybody, I said, listen, I'm a jiu-jitsu guy and an MMA guy, so I'm not going to challenge him to a boxing match. Just like he's not going to challenge me to an MMA match.
Yeah.
You know, we understand what our specialties are, and,
Yeah.
and it works.
Yeah, sure.
My other coach is Coach Jason Blackford. He's top notch. All of us were pro fighters.
Yeah.
He's a professional fighter, MMA. He's got black belts in Taekwondo. He's got black belts in Ishinru Karate. And the list goes on and on. He's fought on Strike Force, XFC. Just a very knowledgeable coach and instructor, and he's a very likable guy. You know?
And he's not lacking humbleness either.
Right.
He is one of the most. He's so easy to get along with. Brings you right in like he's known you forever,
That's
just like the
awesome.
whole staff.
Yeah.
And he just fits in, man. It's awesome. It's awesome to work with.
It's so cool that you have that amount of professionalism in a sport that's all about, you know, sort of beating people up in a way. So it's good to find that niceness to go along with the harshness. I mean,
and it's always been important to me. You know, I've had people come into my school and they kind of you know, kind of look, because even in my boxing classes, my kickboxing classes, they all stand at a yoi attention position. They all bow, and because I'm old school and traditional.
Yeah.
So you know, I started martial arts. Well, that's not important. How long I've been doing this 38 years, and started when I was 8 years old, and I started in the traditional martial arts. So by the time I was 13, I had my first black belt.
That's awesome.
And so that tradition has always been there, and it will always be there, because martial arts is about respect and discipline, and honor and integrity and all those things, you know, that come along with it. So
I think that's awesome that you're teaching that, especially in your youth programs, man. Like, teaching those core goals, like, are just values in life. I think that's such an important thing, man. And kids aren't getting that in school. Kids aren't getting that other places, man. So I think it's really cool that you do that.
Yeah, these kids don't realize how lucky they are to have it at this age either.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if we had it at our age.
Yeah, exactly.
I've always thought the same thing. I wish the UFC would have gotten big way before I got into, like, you know, my 20s, and, you know, I mean, I just turned 31 a couple weeks ago, so I'm just like, I wish, you know, I would have had that opportunity to start so early. But I mean, it's cool that it's happening, you know, right now. So
yeah, there's some lucky kids, man. Right here in Dixon too. That's the crazy thing. I never would have guessed it. You know.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is even right here in Dixon, there is so much talent, you know, and ability, you know. And let's face it, not everybody's going to be a professional football player or professional baseball player, you know. And it's just a matter of getting these kids involved and kind of guiding them and to finding what's their niche, you know. My son, he's 13 now. He started wrestling. I started him at 5 years old wrestling.
Nice.
Taught him for 6 months. 6 months. Of course, I won the New York State wrestling title. I'm gonna date myself in 1988.
Oh, yeah.
And so I taught him wrestling. 6 months after me coaching him wrestling, he never stepped foot on the mat. 6 months later, he placed 4th in the state.
What?
He placed 7th at the Nationals and was named number 10 on the top 100 best wrestlers in Tennessee.
oh my
You're
god,
serious?
that
Six
is
months,
awesome.
6 months training.
Kid is solid.
Yeah, and then and he's all about wanting to do the UFC. Well, you know, unfortunately, in the state of Tennessee, you can either do boxing, kickboxing under 18, and when you turn 18, then you can do MMA. So you can either enter grappling tournaments and do grappling, or do boxing and kickboxing. And so what I've tried to instill in him, it's real important that when he turns 18, he's ready, and he's already done boxing and kickboxing and grappling and jiu-jitsu. So when he decides to make that switch to MMA, it's an easy transition.
Yeah, just right there.
I find it crazy, like, especially right now. There's this girl named Jody McCarthy. So she's like an up and comer, but I think right now I think she's 13 or something right now. But Dana White's already been at her fights and stuff, and I feel like, and then Sage Northcutt, that guy, you even follow.
Yeah.
He just turned.
I don't remember.
So I think like
young.
your son's future is bright, man. He keeps in this. I mean, like they're definitely scouting people, dude. I think that's like that's crazy, but I think that's awesome that he's got such a potential and then also such opportunity there too. Very cool. Well, man, so you how did you go from? I mean, you said you were a professional fighter. How did you go from fighting to the teaching? How did that end up happening?
Well, the teaching side has always been a big part of me. Like I said, I got my first black belt when I was 13. I was very fortunate and blessed that I only had master instructors that I trained with my whole career. I got an opportunity to start competing on a national level. I was asked to fight on the U.S. National team. To fight on the U.S. national team, you had to be the U.S. national champ. Well, I won the U.S. national championship title 10 times, and so I was asked 6 years. I fought on the USA World Team, which was awesome because I got to travel and go to different places and be places that people in their lifetime will never get to go. I fought in Venezuela, Argentina, Spain. Punta del Este, Uruguay. I didn't even know where the hell that was.
Is this like boxing or like?
It's everything.
Everything.
Kickboxing,
Okay.
rolls, locks, chokes. I was sanctioned by the International Jiu-Jitsu Federation. I was sanctioned through the USA Jiu-Jitsu Federation. Sanctioned through ISKA for kickboxing. So I grew up on the Bill Wallace and that era, back when those guys were around. So, but it's been, and then I just transitioned after I got through fighting for a long time. It was all about me. I won 3 world titles, world games titles, fighting, and then I decided that I was getting a little up there in age, 35. Did my last fight at 38, and of course that's a
good long
sport.
Yeah, that's a good long career though.
A lot of achievements too.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
I didn't realize you had this much under your belt. I mean, I knew you was pro to some extent, but this is all new to me. That's awesome.
Yeah. Were you around like whenever they were doing like it wasn't strongman competition? It was tough man. Did you ever do any of this?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I never entered any of those. Well, in UFC is doing it right. There's divisions, there's rules, regulations, and things along those lines. Some of these guys, and I know I've trained some guys in Florida that did the tough man competitions. And they're getting paid, $500 at the end of the night. They're fighting 3 or 4.
Just getting smashed,
just killing yourself.
Getting noses broken, arms broken. You're making $500 or $1,000 if you win, but really, have you won?
For real. Hospital bills gonna be like
your hospital expenses are gonna be a lot more than that.
For like a month now, and
so.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Like tough man and everything, like anybody could just walk in there and sign it. That's scary in itself.
Right.
I mean, I like the idea of going in and the guy across from me has been regulated, got a blood test.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, that's another totally.
Yeah, that's a scary thought going in there without a blood test, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way that they've regulated, MMA and fighting, these fighters, they have to get blood work every 6 months, which, like Derek says, as a fighter, you want to know that this guy across from you has, and doesn't have any,
You can be the toughest man out there, but a blood disease is.
You
ain't gonna fight that. You ain't gonna fight that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people don't think of that aspect of the sport. I mean, just general fans these days that just watch UFC every time there's a pay-per-view or whatever. They don't think about any of the other aspect of it except what they see on the TV. So.
Yeah, and you see blood and you're like, oh, that guy's probably freaking grossed out, but you're not thinking that dude might have like some freaking, I don't know, blood disorder, like getting my eyes or something. You see really bloody fights, man.
Oh, yeah.
People are getting
Well, you
their
got
blood all in another
you got
dude's
two
face.
guys that could potentially get cut at the same time.
Yeah.
Blood can get mixed. You know,
Yeah,
that's
It ain't like it used
Well,
to be.
and
Blood
recipe for
brothers.
disaster.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's like I tell my new potential clients, look, we're not basket weaving out here. You know,
Yeah.
we're not playing patty cake. I mean, this is,
Yeah.
if you want to be at Warriors Den and you want to be in it, because we're not just a fight club, and that's a lot of times people mistake us for being just a fight club. Well, they're a fight club. They're a fight club. We're not just a fight club. We do so much more than fight club with our traditional martial arts for youth and adults. Our self-defense programs that we do. But when Derek comes to me and says, "Hey, Coach, I want to fight. I want to be an MMA fighter." Well, then I'm looking at Derek differently than I'm looking at Johnny here, who wants to just get in shape and wants to lose 50 pounds, and just feel better and look better and all that.
It goes deeper than just bag drills. You know?
Right.
You got to make sure this guy across, he's going to represent you.
Yeah. Well,
It goes
that's
from
another
like
aspect.
it goes from like sort of like, hey, let me help you do this, to hey, let me prepare you for this.
Exactly.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I mean, our guys, I mean, we prepare them, 45 for amateur MMA. Pros, of course, are 5 minutes, but for 3-minute rounds, that's 9 minutes of fighting. I drill my guys 45 to 55 minutes, and just drilling, sparring, grappling, throwing, boom, boom, because that cardio has to be at such a higher level.
Yeah.
Well, like you told me that one night, we met at the gym, bringing some equipment in, and you said you like your fighters to be in there at least 3 nights a week, at least a month before the fight, or they won't fight. I mean, there's a lot of coaches out there, and this is from me living in that area. If you say you want to fight, they're like, well, just go on in there, get in there. And they don't care.
Right.
They don't really care. They don't care how prepared you are. They're just trying to get fighters on a card. I don't want to mention no names, but there's a lot of promoters out there that will totally do you dirty if you just raise your hand. I mean,
Yeah, and that's that. Well, and even with our Warriors Den Fighting Championships, we don't allow. I don't have any what we call independent fighters on our card, and that's simply because not that they're not, they may be talented, but it's a disadvantage for an independent fighter to come in and fight somebody like Derek, who's on my team, who has a coaching staff behind him, who has a 20,000 square foot facility over there, with weights and saunas and and bags and
training
all of
partners,
training partners,
solid training partners.
Yeah.
So it's really they're at a disadvantage, and that's just a remedy for him getting hurt.
Exactly.
That's really cool that you do that. So you you make sure and check out all the other fighters.
They
that are
have to be
compete
from
and
a
stuff.
legitimate gym, and I research that and investigate their gym. And most of the coaches I know. Most of the coaches that are in teams that are on our show, great coaches come from great gyms, things along those lines, and that's what we want. Because at the end of the day, there's two warriors, two gladiators getting in the cage, and there's and I always say there's one winner, and then there's the second winner, because I don't believe in losers, because it takes a special person to be able to step foot in that cage.
That's awesome.
And you'll get people, that say, "Hey, Derek, you should have done this, or you should have done that. You should have," but they won't ever step foot in the cage.
For sure. For sure.
But they're an expert on the outside looking in.
For couch warrior.
Yeah.
There's so many of those these days. With the rise of the popularity in
that's
sport, with the rise of the popularity of the sport, you have so many of those now that think that they know exactly what you need to do because they're watching it.
And while they're eating a plate of pizza rolls,
Sucks.
For sure.
what is he thinking?
Yeah, exactly.
What a loser! You're like 500-pound dude eating Fritos. No, God. But well, man. So, like, in your fights, did you ever allow like the independent fighters
We
in
did.
there?
We did in the beginning shows, but what we found is they were the most difficult to deal with. You were having to chase them down for blood work. You were having to chase them down for any information that you needed for the show. They may or may not show up. Which of course, as a promoter, puts you in a jam, because a week before a fight, if his opponent calls me up, or his coach says, "Hey man, we're not gonna be able to fight." Well, it puts me in a jam. Now I'm scrambling, trying to find him a guy on a week's notice. So we did away with the independent fighters being on our show, and now there's just great gyms out there. I mean, we have Sean Hamm's Nashville MMA. They've been on our show. They're on our show. Sean Beret, Muay Thai out of Antioch. They're on our show all the time. Brings great fighters. And Guardian MMA. You know, these are a lot of great gyms that have great fighters that have a coaching staff like ours, and get in there and they work.
Yeah,
and they work. And that's what it's, you know. Because at the end of the day, from a promoter, not only do I want to fill the seats and sell out, obviously, because there's a whole lot of expenses that people don't realize the expenses that go into putting on a show of our magnitude. Yeah. We get 600 plus people at our show. Yeah. And to put a show on like that, it takes a lot of work. It's not just me. It's the whole, my wife, God. I'd have to mention her on the air because my wife Mary, she handles all the ticket sales and everything, and make sure that and it's huge.
Every event that I've been to, y'all are working, y'all are hustling out there, and that's what I wanted to ask is just how stressful is that maintaining class and being a coach and everything, and on the side still preparing for this massive event y'all are doing in Dixon.
It's man, Derek, it's really difficult, and you really got If I didn't have key people, my wife for one, she's a huge asset to me. The coaches, Coach Jason, Coach G, because they pick up the slack when I can't make it to class or I'm not there. Our pro fighters, James, Alex, they pick up classes when I'm stuck working on the fight card or working on the marketing, and the posters and things like that, to make sure everything looks good, getting with the sponsors because. Be frank, our show runs $7,000 to put together. Yeah. And that's between EMSs and ambulances and insurances and all that. And thank God for sponsors like Buffalo Wild Wings, Powerhouse, Comfort Inn, all these places, Victory Nissan West. These are our major sponsors that come together at every one of my shows. And I come to them and say, look, got my hand out. I need some help.
Right.
Yeah.
And
help me out.
They, and they help out and help us awesome. Put it together. Because if it wasn't for people like that, it'd be very difficult to put a show like that together. But if it wasn't for the coaching staff, it would be a lot harder because we are, jumping through hoops and doing a lot of things, and we have a very busy martial arts school. And a lot of different programs. You look at my competitors in town, though they have great programs that they don't do near what we do.
Yeah, exactly.
We're doing martial arts, we're doing boxing, kickboxing, the MMA and weapons, all that.
And a lot of people think it's just you're just working fighting out, but it's really two events because weigh-ins itself is a pretty big deal. Weigh-ins is a big deal. Yeah. You go to Buffalo Wild Wings, that place is packed. They're serving food just like regular. They're not closing. They're not slowing down. And you got all of us just packed in this area, and it's an event itself.
Yes. Oh yeah. And Derek's absolutely correct because we pull hundreds of people. We probably pull 150 plus to our weigh-ins, but we like to do the little extra things like you come to Buffalo Wild Wings and my videographer, my camera guy, he's got the weigh-ins hooked up on the inside of Bufflo Wild Wings and on the outside patios on all the cameras, on all the TVs and everything, so they see themselves on the screen and everything. I've got my DJ Smoke. He's with me the entire weekend. He DJs on Friday night, and of course I get on the mic and act crazy like I always do. And then he keeps the DJ the party going until about 10 o'clock. We break down, then we get ready for the next day.
Yeah. What I like about the weigh-ins with y'all is like you go to a lot of these amateur promotions and stuff, and you just kind of walk into a room, you stand on a scale, but with y'all kind of give all these fighters like a flavor of what the professional side of the field is, and that's just cool to me. You feel like you're walking into a professional promoter, like all these guys around your professional fighters already. You get that flavor.
Yeah. That's really cool. I think that plays into like the passion that y'all have for the actual sport. Like you were saying, all the coaches that you have that help you out and stuff. I feel like if they didn't, actually 100% like what they were doing, then you wouldn't be able to get them to do to help you at all. And I think that that's really cool that you have that amount of passion in this small little city. You know?
Yeah,
So,
right.
Yeah.
So coaching and everything. This is your full-time job.
Yes, sir.
That is awesome.
Mhm.
That is
Yeah.
That's one of the coolest things. We was talking about that earlier. Just
Yeah.
totally. What was you saying? You never
Yeah,
work a
yeah,
day
yeah.
in your life.
Yeah, if you do something you love, you never
Yeah,
work a day.
yeah.
in your
That's
life.
right. That's right.
I think
You know,
that's very
and
cool, man.
and the funny thing is Rakim, this guy here, he's my my 185 to 205 champ. He holds 2 different titles
Oh, wow.
for us. But he works for Victory Nissan. Victory Nissan is one of our major sponsors. Well, back 10 years ago when I first moved to this area, I worked for Victory Nissan, and I was teaching 2 days a week at Powerhouse, and I was just teaching, training, and he asked me, he's like, man, why don't you fight? And I was like, man, that was 38 at that time. I was like, getting a little old to be out there with these young guys fighting. But we started putting on the shows and everything, and when I was working for Victory Nissan, I decided I was going to have to make a choice, because my wife and I sat down, and this was, like I said, 10 years ago. I was putting in a lot of hours there, and I was teaching 2 nights a week, but the difference is I was working here, and like you said, this is my passion here. So, I'm not one of these individuals that, gets up in the morning and says, oh man, I got to go to work. I'm like, man, I get to go and, teach today. I get to do this private lesson or that private lesson, or do this or do that, so it's,
Man, somebody could say you're lucky for that, but it seems to me your drive pushed you to all that.
Yeah.
Luck had nothing to do with it. You just decided to go for it, and it's worked out for you. It really has. Because since I've known you, you started off, used to be Cat's Music, and you got there, and then, when I started training with y'all, y'all are massive in there. There's so much room. I mean, you're able to do so much classes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we made a conscious decision a year ago to make a move. We were at Cat's Music for about 4 years, and everything was going great, and I got nothing but great things to say about the people over there and the owners and all that. But I was approached by Dan Smith, a good friend of mine. He owns Dixon Athletic Club, and he had mentioned to me, he's like, man, how's things going over there in Pomona? I said, man, things are going good. And then he said, look, I'm not trying to take you away from what you're doing, but, we got a lot of resources and things like that,
Awesome.
I think we could do some things, together. And I thought about it, and I've known Dan way back since, when the Dixon Athletic Club isn't the Dixon Athletic Club that it is today.
Right.
And all he had was the big tatami room, matted room where they did judo and all that kind of stuff. And so that's what was in my mind. And so I was thinking, he really doesn't have. I got 3,500 square foot over here.
Right.
What's how we're gonna? They can't fit us in there. So of course my wife, in her infinite wisdom, she said, man, just go. Sit down and talk to him. Hey, y'all have lunch or something. Sit down and talk and see what he's talking about. So I said, all right. So I called him next week, and sure enough, we went and we met, and he took me through a tour of Dixon Athletic Club, and I was like, wow, I was impressed, because it's not like anything that I remember from 10 plus years ago, And so after the tour, he and I got talking, and he looks at me and he says, well, what do I got to do to get you over here? And I was like, well, man, I don't see where you're going to put us. Where are you going to fit us? He's like, well, we'll build you something.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was like,
Oh.
I'm intrigued now.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
okay, well, okay. So we got talking about it, and when you come to the Warriors Den, we got our own entrance. You come into a big classroom where we do our after school programs. We pick up the kids from school and we bring them to the after school programs on the second level. Right upstairs, because it's funny, because I always tell people, we're at Dixon Athletic Club on the second level, and they're like, oh, cool, yeah, Dixon Athletic Club, and you can see this puzzled look on their face. They're like,
Where are they training?
second level? Dixon Athletic Club doesn't have a second level.
We're going to a higher level.
Yeah,
now.
no, they do now.
Yeah.
And so so we he built the second level up there for us, and we're looking at down the road and expanding it, all the way through. And
Yeah.
so, but the important thing is it created a platform for the fighters to have a great place to train, state-of-the-art equipment, saunas. I mean, you name it. We got heated pools over there, hot tubs. You know, I mean,
rock climbing wall.
You got
That's
rock
the
climbing
coolest
wall.
thing.
Yeah.
I got, I mean, everything. A plyo room that's right down the stairs from our, from where we train at, and so, I mean, there's absolutely no reason with what it's been a win-win for everybody. I mean, I've got parents that come, they drop their kids off to the kids program, and then they go work out or go take a different pool. Or
Yeah.
I like that you'll have a waiting room down there for the parents too, with the live feed and everything. That's awesome.
What?
That's cool.
Yeah,
Man.
Yeah, we did that. 2 reasons. One, because my experience, and like I said, I've been doing this for over 38 years now. My experience has always been is that with youth, they tend to focus, and you can get a lot more out of them if mom and dad aren't right next to them. They're always looking at looking at dad, getting his approval. So now they can sit downstairs in the room, and they can watch everything on the TVs and everything, and see exactly what's going on.
That's really cool for both sides, though. If you think about it, like for the kids and for the parents, because the parents get to see, hey, that's my kid doing that, and the kids are like, hey, look what I'm doing, and it makes the kid feel good. So that's good, just all around for. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. And when you go to my actual office, I have not everybody knows this, but I have a live feed that feeds from my office to the training area.
Oh, nice.
So
There you
when
go.
I'm in my office, I can see everything
like...
that's going on in there. I've told my coaches what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a speaker system, loud sound system. That's going to say, Johnny, quit slacking. Johnny's going to be like,
who was that?
Where's that voice come from?
If you do that, don't tell anyone. Until it happens.
Yeah.
Like change your voice really deep or something.
I see you. Yeah, I see you.
Is anyone else hearing this?
Yeah, quit slacking. Get to work. That would be too funny.
So, you said, 10 years ago you were working at Victory Nissan. How long have you been doing this full time? Because, dude, that's... you came a long way in 10 years, man.
Yeah,
that is
awesome. I've been doing it full time for 8 of those 10 years. Probably.
Congratulations, man! You're
it's my wife and I sat down one day, and she said, we both talked about it, and what was going to happen is I could see, down the road what was going to happen is because I tell everybody I suffer from workaholicism, if it's a word. Because my dad he dropped out of school, 17 years old, married my mother, their high school sweethearts. By the time he was 25, he had 3 very successful auto mechanic and body shops, and 10 tow trucks, but he worked 24/7. 24/7. One thing was always constant is Sunday. Sunday was church and the boys and Dad Day. And I was only 15-year-old, 16-year-old in high school that had a drag racing car that did 9 seconds in a quarter mile, and so it was, it was pretty cool. But so we worked hard, and then I realized something had to give. And my wife said, it's not very often that you get to do what you absolutely love to do as your profession.
For sure.
So I put in my notice. I got a call from the owner. They own 5 dealerships. He called me up and he said, "Look, man, is it money? Is there anything?" I said, "Look," I said, "love working for the company. It's a great company." I said, "But your pockets don't go deep enough. Not when it pertains to something that you absolutely love to do." And I just love what I do, and love, I look at it like this, especially working with the youth. I have the opportunity to touch a life, and I have kids that have trained with me 10 years ago that are now, that I trained them here, and now they're like this big, and they come to me like, "Shion, hey Shion, how you doing?" I'm like, "Hey, she looks so familiar, but I can't." "Yeah, it's little Susie, you remember?" I was like, Yeah, but you were this big. Now you're like this big, and they always tell you how you've had such a positive influence in their life and things like that, and it really means a lot.
Yeah, and there's no amount of money that could equal to that feeling.
Exactly.
For sure.
I think it's crazy. I mean, like, honestly, the time that you've been doing it, like, obviously, that driving force that you've got, that's what's got you here, man. And then I think, like, you instilling that in your fighters as well, too. Like, I mean, that's going to get them to that next level. You're worth it. Your work ethic.
Oh, yeah. But, absolutely. That's so important, you know. I mean, that work ethic. I mean, you can do anything in this life that you want to do as long as you're willing, you know, step up on your 2 feet and get up there to the plate and just go to work.
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
You got to put in the work, you know. They hear me say all the time, listen, champions pay the price. And I tell them, look, I don't care what it is in this life that you do, whether you want to work on, Wall Street, you know, IBM, you want to lose 50 pounds, or you want to be the next amateur or pro great. There's going to be a price that you're going to pay for that. There's a price in everything that you pay for in this life. So champions pay the price. You got to step up. Man, I was wanting to wear my Suck It Up Buttercup shirt that we have, and that's a theme in our school. You know, suck it up, Buttercup. You know, champions pay the price, and you got to be willing to pay that price. You know?
Yeah, that's a good saying.
I feel like this, like now, like this day and age, there's so much instant gratification. You want to get skinny? We'll go get like liposuction. You know what I mean?
Right.
So instant gratification. If you're not willing to grind, like, and all that instant gratification, that's exactly what it is. As soon as you get it, it's gonna pass. But you work hard for that. Like those people that work really hard for the title, they're gonna keep that title for a while because they're not letting go.
Right.
That's great, dude.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I don't know, man. Just teaching people that, I think that's an amazing thing. It's really cool.
I appreciate it.
But yeah. So you've got, like, any of these fighters on here? You said you've got 7 championship fights on this next.
Yeah, we've got seven title fights. 3 of them are youth, and then we've got 4 adult MMA titles on the line. And I mean, there's going to be some awesome fights. You know, I mean, I get all excited about the cards, and that's the part that I enjoy because I'm the matchmaker and the promoter, and I get to put these 2 fighters together, and even in the youth, the youth division. I mean, we've got some outstanding kids that are just going to be throwing down, and it's everybody loves to see the youth. You know, and I'm probably one of the first that have brought that to Tennessee, because now you're starting to see more promotions doing that, but we were one of the first that brought that to Tennessee, and with the youth kickboxing, and we've done youth boxing matches on our show and things like that, because I've always felt that the younger generation, that's our future. You know, that's and molding them and growing them in the sport and being disciplined in the sport is key to because I'm 40, I'm 48, so I'm not going to be doing it much longer. So I mean it's you have to turn down to that next generation and pass it down.
I like how the kids are on the card with all these older fighters and everything. It gives them something to look up to, and at the same time makes them feel part of it. They're not like segregated from it. Like, oh, we're having a kids kickboxing event. No, this is
they're playing to a
all
sold-out crowd, man.
And this kid right here, right after he's done fighting, is going to get to watch you fight. So in turn, he feels like he's already part of it. Although he can't do the mixed martial arts yet, but he sees that he's on that road, or she sees she's on that road.
They have a goal to look forward to.
Yeah, exactly. And right there in front of them. It's not like they're having to, I got to go to this event, and I get to watch these guys. No, I am part of this event. I will be there. You're buying tickets to my show. So, I mean, it's cool to feel like that as a kid, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do, unlike a lot of the other promotions, we do our show for our youth just like we do it for the adult kickboxing, adult MMA. They come out, we have the DJ, and we got the smoke and the lights.
Nice.
And,
that's so cool.
They have their own walkout music, and they have their own walk to the to the cage time, with the camera guy, walking them down, and the whole announcer, announcing them and all that kind of stuff. And it's just they come out with their own fight names. My son's Tony. My fight name was The Real Deal. Nice. Tony's fight name is Tony Little Real Deal. So he comes out. They got their own fight names and all that kind of stuff. Like Kobe. Kobe's one of my other youth fighters. He's Kobe the King Geis. So it's it's funny how you see them growing and really, and then we've just wanted that platform for them to feel like you said, like the big dogs. And when I'm in the back with all the fighters, I don't separate the youth from the adults. You know, they're all together. They're all fighters. They're back there. They're all going to the rules meeting. I make it a point to talk to the adults and say, listen, understand something. We're all warriors here. You know, we're all gladiators. We're going to be honorable. We're going to be respectful. We're going to be disciplined. And keep in mind that as an adult, you have an obligation and have to have the respect and the discipline to show these youngsters how we're supposed to behave, how we're supposed to act, you know, how we're supposed to conduct ourselves. And so, knock on wood, we've never had any problems at our shows. You know, all the fighters are all top class, very disciplined, respectful. You know, and because I mean, at the end of the day, there can only be one winner. You know, so you get upset if things didn't go your way. You know, don't take your mouthpiece out and throw it to the crowd because no one wants your nasty mouthpiece.
Yeah, sure.
You know, don't drop the F-bombs and all that kind of stuff. Keep it classy, keep it professional. You know, and
it's a family event.
Exactly. Our show is definitely a family show, you know, it's
another positive thing about the kids being out there. They don't hold back. Like you're sitting there thinking like these kids are going to go out there and it's going to be like some kind of like half out. You know, they're going to be restricted. As no. These kids, you're liable to see some of these kids, and it'd be the best fight you see for the night. I mean, they are slugging. They are not holding back.
Exactly. They get after it, boy. And it's funny that Derek says that because we've had a lot of people say, man, why we love those kids fights, man. We love the kids because they get after it. You know, and of course they're wearing the headgear, you know, and the gloves. We take all the safety precautions into it, but they wear the headgears and the gloves and shin step pads. But yeah, he's right. They don't hold back. They get after it.
And they got so much technique. Some of them.
It gives them a good outlet to be kids like you would be at home when you're, you know, play fighting and stuff, but to have that in a safe environment, but to just really be able to go all in, like it gives them that outlet, and that's really cool to do that.
Man. You were talking about like being able to be like play matchmaker. I'm not trying to take this into a different area, okay? But do you follow the UFC pretty closely? You've been watching a lot? Okay. What about the Bullet Valentina fight? Did you watch that?
No, I missed that one.
Bullet Valentina, obviously, she's got some miles. Like, she's definitely been in the
She's a
cage
veteran. She was a
last
former...
week she just fought, like, it was her first, I think, UFC fight for sure. First fight at that
was
weight
it her
class.
pro debut?
I think it was.
It might have been the chick's pro debut that was Valentina Shevchenko's opponent. And Shevchenko's like former kickboxing champion, like Russian, like extreme,
number one
you know.
contender.
And like this chick that she fought just got annihilated. And the ref wouldn't call it. And she's fighting for her life, and the ref just wouldn't stop the fight. And he said, you know, he was giving him a chance to recover, whatever. But it was just a massacre. And like, I mean, from a matchmaking standpoint, like, how do you do that?
It's really, really tough. And what I do is I try to make sure that that I know both sides' experience levels, records, although that can sometimes be skewed because you know it's okay. This person's 4-2. This person's 3-1. Okay, now were they 3 hard wins or 3, you know, 3 gimmies, so to speak, you know, and that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, and Clinton was telling me there's like different sanctions too. So I mean, like do you pull like all the records? Or
when I fought for Hard Rock MMA, at this point I fought like 5 or 6 times. They acknowledged 0 fights because it was under the ISKA, and they was under the National Boxing Association or something. And then, but there's also some events, some promoters I fought for that's under the same association that did acknowledge the ISKA. So it's kind of a weird playing field there. That's something I still don't understand to this day.
Yeah, it's difficult because there's so many different sanctioning bodies out there. You have ISK, International Sport Karate Association, which is who we use. I chose to go with them because I've got experience with them. I've known Anthony Manus for years, and I've, you know, back in the PKL days, Professional Kickboxing League, I was a part of them back then, so they've been around a long time.
Yeah.
You have WK, World Kickboxing Association, and all these other organizations. And yes, there is different sanctioning bodies. They're supposed to even have a national register of records, and that seems to be off too. You've got mixed martial arts, mixedmartialarts.com, who's keeping records, and their records aren't exactly consistent with
I'm on there.
and
I'm 1-0, undefeated, and I just do not like that because, it looks good for me, but it's just not fair to the other guy, in my opinion. And I did not like the rudeness when I dealt with the National Boxing Association. They asked me what my record was. I told them. They was like, "Wrong, you've never fought before." I was like, "Don't tell me I've never fought before."
Right. Yeah. Well, too, there's a lot of that too goes to the promotions. See, we pay to have our event sanctioned through ISK. We also pay to register our event. So we register all of our wins. So when you fight on our card, it gets registered. It goes to National Data Bank.
Okay.
It gets registered under mixedmartialarts.com, Tapology, which are the primary registry bodies. But if that promotion doesn't get on the computer and put the wins, losses, and that kind of stuff, I got stuff that's not on my record, so it's up to that promotion to make sure that happens, and a lot of times they're not.
It's awesome you go that extra mile though.
Yeah.
Put all that in there.
Yeah,
you'll say, man.
Yeah, you'll.
I need to check in. I'm 1-1 now.
Yeah.
So there we go. That works for me.
Yeah.
I can handle that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just a whole nother thing that you throw into this production that you guys have. It's like, my lord, man, and you're busy, dude.
Yes,
you're
sir.
busy.
So we're busy. Yeah, we're real busy.
Yeah.
But it's fun, We started this whole thing a while back because we were, we had a fight team, and we were traveling. We were going to Alabama, we were going to North Carolina, Kentucky, all across Tennessee, and it's expensive. I mean, these trips, you got sponsors too, but I mean, these trips, they add up because you got to be there Friday night for weigh-ins. So you're there Friday night, Saturday night, hotel accommodations Friday night, Saturday night, of course, everything, your meals, your travels, all that kind of stuff there. And so you're doing 6 shows, 7 shows, 8 shows a year. It tends to add up. So what we decided that we were going to start out with one show. We were going to do one show a year, so then that way we didn't have to travel, our team didn't have to travel, and then our team could compete in front of their hometown, in front of their family, friends, things along those lines. Well, that turned to 2. Now we're on to 3 fights a year, and my wife said we're not going over 3 fights a year, or we might be divorced. So, so I think Warriors Den will only be hosting 3 shows.
It sounds like
these
going on for sure. Well, I mean, were there a lot of hoops like in the local politics? Did you have to go through a lot of that to get your shows started? I mean,
no, because once the state of Tennessee, it became legal in the state of Tennessee, there were other promotions that started doing it. The problem that we run into, man, is venue. There's not a whole lot of venue space in Dixon, and we really need like a convention center or something bigger, like that, or something bigger. Because we got 600 plus people, at the VFW, and though it's a great show and there's people everywhere, and it's the energy level is so high. That's one thing I hear a lot of from fighters. They love fighting on our show because Dixon, when they come out, and Dixon and surrounding counties, they come out and they come out to support, and it's the energy level is so high. And as a fighter, you like that.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, it's a spectator sport.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
I know people that aren't really necessarily into the sport. They're marking these events on their calendar every year. I mean, it's by far the biggest event that goes on in Dixon County, and from what I've gathered from people, just going to work, people talking about it. You heard the Warriors Den? Yeah, I've heard of them. And they're telling me the dates that y'all are fighting and scheduling events, and they're not necessarily into the sport itself. It's just they're ready to get out and see something better than they've got going on.
Right. And I think a lot of it is this show that we put together. I mean, we've got a volunteer staff and team of 30 that help from Friday to Saturday, and because there's so much that goes on behind the scenes, set up, break down, take down, clean up, all that kind of stuff, besides doing the show itself, and so you can't. There's no way you can do it by yourself.
No, I mean,
or one or two or a handful of people.
Yeah, everybody thinks the show's over when the fight's done. Your
right.
show's like pretty much getting started again. Let's fire it back up.
That's right. And so what we started doing is because we were, we leave the VFW, and of course DJ Smoke, our DJ, he breaks down and he goes over, shoots over to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh wow!
And we pretty much closed the, they put the signs up for us and everything that say, awesome, listen. Man. 10 o'clock on Warriors Den, Warriors Den Fighting Championships. It's gonna be here,
Nice.
And our DJ's playing, and everybody's having a good time, and of course Buffalo Wild Wings loves it because we probably make their quota for the quarter. Those 2 nights,
Yeah, I probably made up about 5% of it myself last time I went in there.
So, but and then it got to the point where because I was trying to leave the VFW show and get over there, and then my wife's like, hey, it's like midnight, and you're not here, you're the director, you need to be here, and so got to the point where I said, okay, look, what we're going to start doing is we're going to shut it down. When we're done, everything else to break down and clean up and all that kind of stuff's going to have to wait till the next day. And so we have a crew that comes in the next day, and we get it all cleaned up and everything like that, so it works out really good.
That's awesome.
So you got it pretty fine-tuned at this point, right?
At this point, this is our 9th show, so we got it pretty fine-tuned now. And now we're excited about some things that we're doing. I've got Bearcat Productions this time around. We had our videographer that we were using. He was doing a great job. He was, but this time we've got Bearcat Productions, and they're a complete production company.
So it's like
and we'll be able to have the sound, and they'll be able to. They'll be able to do a really jam-up job for us, and we're talking about having commentators that we haven't had
nice.
on past shows, which would be cool because it's you'll have people be able to hype it up and talk people through it. Like you said, the person that doesn't know MMA or what goes on in the sport,
really cool. That's really
can
cool.
actually see what's going on.
I think that adds a whole nother aspect to this, amateur show, is getting the commentators on there. Like, that just takes it to another level of, like, professionalism. That's really cool.
Yeah, so, we're trying to do different things because we have an issue with the venue, and we could take the show out of Dixon, but we have such a huge following in Dixon and surrounding areas. Our show sells out, and it sells out in 75+% of the sellout of our show is Dixon and surrounding counties. I tell Derek's heard me tell the team this. I tell the team, I said, listen guys, I buy the tickets. I get the tickets in 2 months before our show, and I tell them all the time. I said, listen, get your tickets to the show. Get your family, get your friends that are going to want to go to the show. Get them to get their tickets early. Because when I have my people put sold out on the doors, because it happens at every show. So when they put sold out, that's it. My own mama doesn't get in. So
Fire Marshal goes there just waiting for it.
And so you're gonna, and I tell them, I said, look, you're gonna be coming up to me next week saying, Shion, I came to the show, man, but I couldn't get in. I'm like, that's why I told you to get your tickets 2 months ago.
We had that happen this last event. I kept telling all the group of friends that was coming. I said, you better pre-order. I can get you the tickets. Just let me know now. Oh, we'll just get them with the night. I was like, you might not. You might not. Here they come, showing up about an hour after the bell. No, it's about an hour and a half after the first bell rings. Sorry, you can't do nothing for you.
Sorry.
I told you.
Yeah.
Well, man, have you ever looked at I know you were talking about venues and stuff. Have you ever looked at doing like an outdoors event?
We're looking at that. What we're doing right now is we're kind of looking at the options of different insurances because, of course, that's subject to weather, rain dates and things like that. But I'm talking to a guy that puts on shows in Florida, and he says swears by this rain insurance thing that he does, and so we're gonna kind of look at that and see. Yeah, so
one of the first amateur bouts I actually watched. This was before I even started training, doing any of this. It was a county fair or something, but they had one of the big tents.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, weather ain't gonna affect this. Well, here comes the rain. I'm talking about rain blowing sideways through this tent. I mean, you can't let them go.
Yeah.
You got them slipping, sliding in
Yeah,
there. Mats and rain.
Right.
It's not a good mix.
Yeah.
Like that movie, Here Comes the Boom.
Yeah.
They're slipping and sliding.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, ours is sanctioned. Like, yeah, it's funny because we talk about Here Comes the Boom. You know, when he comes in and he says, "Is this sanctioned?" I could have swore I saw a chicken. Yeah, I did see a chicken. I saw a chicken. No, we do our show on the professional level with all the sanctionings, and all we're sanctioned through Tennessee Athletic Commission and ISKA and whoever else we need to.
Yeah.
So because we want to make sure that the experience is a great experience. You know?
Yeah.
And we've got fighters that have been on our shows from the beginning. And they're still on our shows because they love being on our show.
Yeah.
This is off topic a little. You just had a few fighters fight for Jonathan Ivy's new promotion, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How was that? Did you make it out to that one?
No, I didn't. That's the first show. You had to bring this up because it was it was me and my wife's anniversary weekend, and this is
Fair
the
enough.
first. That's the first show that I had to miss in 10 years. And and especially not be there for the fighters. But of course, I had to call them and I had to check in on them. I told them, I said, look, I'm here with you in spirit and everything. I knew they were in great hands because Coach G's a great coach, Coach Jason's a great coach, and we had a couple of our pro fighters that went there. But still, I take a lot of pride in what I do. I wanted to be there for them. So unfortunately, I missed that one. I have been at Jonathan Ivy's previous shows, and he puts on a good show. He's still learning. He and I have talked about this, so it's no secret. He knows that our show, it's huge. And it does really well. And he's asked me some pointers on how he can improve his show. So I expect that was his third show, I believe.
Okay.
And so I expect that his show will continue to get better. But Jonathan Ivy's a great guy. As a matter of fact, we're planning on having him come to our gym. He loves our fighters.
Yeah.
And he loves that's one thing I pride our team on, and that's why we get asked to so many different shows. Because they know a couple things about Warriors. And if they're going to come, they're going to make weight. If they say they're going to be there, they're going to be there, and they're going to bring it.
That's
and
awesome.
they come to fight.
That's good.
And,
That's a good thing.
So that's
Good reputation to have.
Yeah,
Right.
for real,
Absolutely.
especially in that sport.
Yeah, Jonathan Ivy was this fight before last. He was actually the ref. You remember Michael Andrews and I can't remember his wife's name, but they did the RFC out in Waynesboro.
Yeah.
I fought Cody. I don't want to mispronounce his name because I think it's Cody Cock or Cody Coke. We'll say Cody Coke.
Yeah. All right,
we'll say Cody Coke just for the sake of that. Jonathan Ivy was actually our ref, and I'm like, the refs. I've had a lot of good refs, but he was just sitting there talking to me the whole time. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because I was taking a beating. I was taking a beating from 130. He was the 135 champ for them. But he was not about to just call it just because I was getting hurt. And just like last,
awesome.
Yana is the ref. Yana gave me chance after chance. I'll give him that. That was awesome.
Yeah, and that's because at the end of the day, coming from being a fighter, as a fighter, of course we all have that pride and that we're not gonna quit, we're not gonna give in. You're gonna put me in the arm bar and you're gonna break it before I tap. Kind of mentality. And so of course their job is to safety, to keep you safe and things along those lines. But I do appreciate those refs that don't call it too early.
Yeah.
Because it allows you to you don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, I've been in fights where the commentator at the end to say, "Oh, Jose, man, in the second round, man, it looked like he he had you, he was beating you around and everything like that. What were you thinking in that round? Surviving. Survive. Yeah. And then you work through those things and you come through, and then your hand is raised at the end of the fight, and you realize, okay, I endured. And I overcame that, and I got that second win. And
huge
sure
sense
enough,
of victory.
Exactly. But if that ref had stopped it just a little bit earlier, then I'd have been upset.
Yeah.
Look, man, I had
And that's a lot of credit to the refs. There's such a fine line there. There's such a fine line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can either 1 second too late, 1 second too early, and you're going to catch some flack regardless. And just the fact they can get out there, they've got just as much riding on them as some of these fighters out there. And they're moving.
Yeah.
They've got to keep moving. And they're in there, eyes on them. You can easily mess up as a ref.
Oh yeah.
I got a friend that does umpire, and he does it for, like, I guess the MLB or something. I can't remember exactly what it's for. I think it's like the second conference. But he said he gets death threats, man. I was like, are you serious? Just death threats for baseball? He's like, yeah.
Well,
It's pretty intense.
the guy that y'all brought up to John Allen, yeah.
Yeah.
He was Moody's martial arts, a big ref.
Mhm.
He training with Ray Cassius now. But I fought a catchweight fight, and that boy dropped an axe kick, which is apparently illegal. It never registered to me. Cracked a rib and bruised 2 or something. Well, John Allen made it a point to come find me on social media and gave me this huge I'm talking novel apologizing. I'm sorry, I didn't acknowledge that this is against the rules in the state of Tennessee under the ISKA.
Yeah.
I just thought that was awesome that he took so much pride in repping that event.
Yeah. He actually goes to he works for my brother at the National Guard, and he's a huge guy. I mean, he's just a tall, just built dude, and every time I see him, I'm always messing with him. I'm like, I'll take you in a wrestling match. He like wrestle, dude. He was like, it was nothing. He just went, and I just. There's video of it somewhere, on YouTube or Instagram, of him just putting me just taking me to school. I was like, oh. He outweighs me by 300 pounds, dude. So
That's funny.
he's massive.
That's funny.
Pretty good. Well, man, so when is the fight? When is the big event?
It's April the 20th. It'll start with the weigh-ins Friday night, April 20th. Something else that we're going to do a little different than we've done. This is the first show that we're doing it since I have a production company, and the production company doesn't know this yet, so maybe they'll catch this. They'll catch this segment and they'll start taking notes on what I'm wanting them to do. But we're going to do it like they do in the UFC. Not obviously all the fights, because we've got 18 fights on. Well, I've got 24 fights, but by the time we get there, it'll probably be chiseled down to about 18 to 20. At least I'm hoping, because that's a long time for all those fights. Even though we average about 17, 18 fights. We try to. That's a good number for us to work with. But we're going to do the main event, the co-main event, and people laugh when I say this, our co-main event. People are like, what's a co-main event? No, at Warriors Den Fighting Champions, we have co-main events.
Everybody. Heck yeah.
So, and what we're going to do is kind of like a conference call with, where we'll have the champion and we'll have the challenger and we'll have the commentators asking questions, audience to be able to ask questions and things like that.
That's really cool.
Just to kind of hype it up and make it for a more professional experience for them. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
So starting then, don't wait to get your tickets.
That's right. Don't wait to get your tickets. So Friday night starts the there you go. Friday night starts the weigh-ins. Buffalo Wild Wings will start at 7. We'll be there probably till 10, somewhere in there. Then Saturday doors open up at 5. We'll kick off right at 5:30 with the kids, and I prided myself in saying that at our show, when we say the doors open at 5, first fight starts at 5:30. First fight starts at 5:30.
That's awesome.
5:35 at the latest. We're going, and then we run through the youth fights. We'll have some youth title fights. Then we'll take a intermission. We'll start at 7 o'clock with the
Yeah.
main event, national anthem, singer introductions, all that kind of stuff, and then by 7:10, usually first punches are being thrown. So Saturday, April the 21st will be that, and then we invite everybody out to the after event social. We call it an after event social because, like Derek indicated earlier, we're all about the family and about the family experience and family show. Our kids come out to Buffalo Wild Wings for the after event social. They have Blazing Bill, I think is what they call it. Mascot, Buffalo Wild Wings mascot. He comes out and he entertains the kids and that kind of stuff. And so, and then at midnight, then I tell everyone, at midnight, you might want to take the kids home because, then it gets a little more live. Because it's the adults, and then we're usually there till 2 o'clock.
That's awesome.
And so it's a fun night, and it gives everybody an opportunity to, kind of unwind. And,
like a cool down period.
Yeah, exactly. And something neat that we do that they haven't seen any other promotion do it. We have our videographer. He actually plays the night's event on the big screen TVs
awesome.
and
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah,
so when you come to the after event social, you see. So it's funny because fighters are eating wings or having a drink or whatever, and they're watching themselves on big screen TV. So it's pretty. It's pretty neat for them. And we want it to be a special experience for them and everything like that. And so I guess that's why we get so many fighters that want to come back.
Yeah, for real. I mean, if I was fighting, that sounds good to me. Like you get meal. I mean, just the whole deal. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, brother. Well, yeah. Well, man, thank you so much for coming on here.
Absolutely, man.
I feel like we could talk for hours.
Yeah,
man.
we can. We haven't.
I know, yeah.
Before we go, though, is there anything you'd like to say, positive, give a positive message to anybody who, may want to be fighting or, just maybe struggling with life in general, if there's anything you'd want to say?
Yeah, that's...
That's sort of what we're about here. We want to give, a positive sort of message to people out.
Yeah, absolutely. Because so many times people think that the MMA, like I said earlier, we get mistaken for being strictly a fight club, and that's not what we're all about. We're all about the tradition and etiquettes and discipline and respect. And I feel that anybody can do anything that that they put their mind to. Whether just because MMA sports, you see what's on UFC, on TV, and all that kind of stuff, and sometimes it seems like it's brutal and things like that. Understand that you can come in to a gym like ours, and you can train MMA and not ever be a fighter, or ever because you train in an MMA or a kickboxing program doesn't mean that you have to fight. You come to our place and you got a dozen heavy bags around, speed bags, uppercut bags, and all these other, stations that you're working. And I think it's important that people understand that, and they shouldn't be deterred by the sport, that if it's something that they are interested in, take that positive step and move forward towards it, because you can learn the sport and become good at the sport and not ever step foot in the ring or cage or have to. So
and it can help your confidence.
Absolutely, it helps confidence. But builds your self-esteem, your your awareness of things. I tell everybody, look, with knowing what I know, I think the good Lord, I've never had to use. Well, I think that I've had to use it twice, but it was anyway. You know what you know, and so you walk around with your head held high and your shoulders back, knowing that, hey, you know what, I'm going to let that slide, buddy, because obviously you don't know. You're wanting to go down the wrong path, and once it gets going down that path, then I've only got one thing on my mind, and that's my safety, the safety of my family.
You can protect yourself and those around you.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's important. But I encourage everybody to get out there and just, if nothing else for the health. I mean, I tell people like this, not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, you look at these fighters and these athletes because they train at such a higher level. I mean, I'm not seeing a whole lot of MMA fighters that are muscled up, chiseled up, and everything like that. And it's because because of the conditioning and cardio and everything, and nothing else for your health, your health and well-being. Get out there and because there's no other sport that's going to give you the conditioning and the cardio, the total body training that like this sport does.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, also, so before we get off here, we've got. Tell us what's inside of this right here.
This is, and I give these to you guys to do with what you. It's a gift from us at Warriors Den, and it says a gift for you from your friends at Warriors Den. And what it is, it's a 2-week free trial. You can come in and it's unlimited. You can come in and do any of the programs that we offer. And in it has a gift certificate. It also has the schedule and some of the different programs that we do. Like in '97, I developed a program called WAP, W-A-P, Women Armed to Protect.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's strictly for ladies 10 years and above, and I'm covering streetwise and street safety things. I'm also teaching street self-defense. I'm covering safety deterrence, pepper sprays, tasers, body alarms, all these types of different things.
Yeah.
So it has information on that. So definitely come out and take advantage of it, because it's a great opportunity for them to kind of see what we're all about.
Yeah, that's awesome. We need a lot of that in today's world, honestly. I mean, even in just small towns, it's getting pretty bad out there just because of how hard it is to actually make money. I mean, people are taking desperate measures to, try and make a little extra. So that's a good thing that you're doing.
Yeah, and it's so important. I mean, I have so many private lesson clients that train with me just because of the I have some that have been training with me over the last 8-10 years, but a lot of them because they want to be able to walk around and have that confidence. You know what I mean? That if something were to go down, and I'm a firm believer in prevention awareness.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Your self-defense scenario doesn't start when the person's already on you.
Yeah,
it starts by you having your keys ready, by you being aware of what's going on around you and seeing that attack coming. You got a much better chance of defending yourself against an attacker if you are aware of what's going on around you.
Prepared.
But we live in such a busy society, that most people are doing. Yeah, exactly. They're on their phones doing this, and they're doing this until they get to the car. Oh, I forgot my keys. They're over here, and they're digging through their purse or in their pocket to get their keys out, boom, and they're getting in and not peeking in the back seat, to see if there's anything back there, they're just getting in.
Movies now. I'm looking in the back seat.
I mean, I usually check every time I get in the car. I'm like, all right, I don't want to see anything in my rearview mirror while I'm driving.
Right. Well, and the funny thing is about we talk about that when I do my seminars, which March 17th we are. Is it March 17th, March 31st? I have to get you that. I think it might be March 31st now that I think about it. But my wife wanted us to do it's going to be a free seminar for teachers. But it's going to entail ladies self-defense from 10 years old and up. And also we're going to have, I've developed another program called Streetwise Kids.
That's awesome.
Where we talk about different self-defense awareness and street techniques for youth. So we're going to be doing that on March 17th. But it's a great opportunity for them to come out and really get a handle on some different...
that's really good. Especially with the whole there's a lot of anti-bullying going around. That's really, really good stuff because I mean, we don't, the adults and stuff, we don't know a lot of what's going on in the kids' lives, when they're getting bullied and stuff, and that's really good for them to be able to handle themselves when we're not around.
Right.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, awesome, man. So we got that, and you also hooked us up with some shirts here.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
That's our. That's our.
So you got blue and some black ones.
Blue and black ones. And it says "Suck it up, Buttercup."
And then
So
no
excuses, And the back of it is that's our Warriors Den Fighting Championships logo.
Awesome. Heck yeah.
You're awesome, man.
Yeah.
So we're gonna come up with an awesome way to raffle these off, man.
All right,
Either giveaway or something, but you guys definitely check it out.
Yes.
But awesome, man. Well, brother, thank you so much for
thank you for having us, man. Had a great time, guys. Had a great time. We'll have to do it again. And get out there April 20th and 21st. Get out there because it's going to be a heck of a show. You don't want to miss it.
Heck yeah.
I'll be there.
See, you'll be in the ring.
Yeah, he's gonna be fighting.
Come and
So.
see Derek.
Yeah.
Throw down.
Yeah, this will go better, I promise. A lot better.